Three. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Webinar Swaps. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in this great, big, beautiful earth of ours. Oh, it's better to have halitosis than no breath at all. And I woke up this morning breathing, and that was the most important thing in my life. And thank you very much for that, God. The second most important thing is Webinar Swaps. And tonight, putting on the benchmark of webinars, well, that's something we just do. It's all automatic. And tonight is going to be no exception. I just wanted to welcome you all. We know your time is very important. Thank you very much for coming by and being very loyal to us here at Webinar Swaps. On behalf of the entire team of EBR and Chad Castleman, Brian Zimmerman, myself, Rich Wilens, we welcome you to the program. Tonight, our guest, well, I got a lot of things to tell you about him. He's an international professional speaker, trainer, author. He's got two best-selling books, Up Your Bottom Line and Disciplined for Life. You are the author of your own future. He's been recognized as the consummate speaker of the year and consistently ranks in the top 8 sales gurus in the world. It's a pretty big place since 2008. Certified as a sales professional, master trainer, and social entrepreneur, he adopted a village in Sri Lanka where he's financially responsible for the medical care and education of over 700 children who survived the tsunami. Based in Canada, he's used Singapore and Dubai as his ongoing hubs for the last 16 years and has spoken over 1,000 cities and over 47 countries to audiences with as many as 10,000 participants at one event. And today, we're lucky, he's going to share his buyer-focused velocity selling system, advanced sales strategies to engage today's buyers to buy from you. He's going to present that tonight. Wow, please join me in welcoming a velocity selling specialist, master sales trainer, and a cultivator of human potential, and my new best friend, because I got a feeling you could support me too, and I can show you how to do it. Our guest tonight, Bob Urichuck. Bob, welcome to the program. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Buyer Focused Velocity Selling System. And Rich, thank you very much, you and Webinar Swaps, for hosting this event this evening. I've got a lot of content to share with everybody. We've got an hour. I'm going to try to do my best within an hour to get a lot of this content across to everything. But before I get started, let me just get you to answer a few questions for yourself. What I'd like everyone to do is just answer this question. What is your biggest sales challenge? Or in other words, if I could sell a lot more, if only I could, what would that could be? What is your biggest sales challenge? And this is where, at the end of the webinar, we'll be handling some questions. And if I don't answer during the webinar, well, maybe during the Q&A session at the very end, we'll be able to answer some of those questions. So, what is your biggest sales challenge is the first question. And the second question would be, in round numbers over the last year, how much has that problem cost you in lost revenue or lost commissions? Now let's talk about lost revenue. Let's keep it on that. So what's your biggest challenge in sales, and how much did that problem cost you in lost revenues over the past year in round numbers? Now, over the next hour or so, what I want to do is share with you the velocity selling system, but let me just start out by giving you a little bit of background about myself. First of all, my whole mission in life is really to understand sales and help people change the perception of this profession. To me, sales is by far the most important profession of all professions. It is the oldest profession in history, and it is also the least respected profession. And the sales profession is about to become extinct, because we can buy everything on the internet now, and we don't need salespeople to waste our time. The sales profession has a very bad perception, and I'm on a mission to change that perception worldwide, primarily because of this. Without sales, there's no transactions. Without transactions, there's no revenue. Without revenue, organizations would not exist, and the rest of the world would not have jobs. The world revolves around sales. However, it's not just about sales anymore, it's about buyers. Without buyers, we have no sales. So what we need to do is be more buyer focused. What I'm going to do this evening is share with you the opposite of selling. The opposite of selling is, Rich, you have any ideas? Buying. And this is where we're going to put the focus. We're going to learn how to facilitate the buying process so that people buy from you, so that you can increase your sales, your profits, and as a small business owner, entrepreneur, author, non-selling professional, you can increase that bottom line. So let's carry on a little. On the webinar, I know you're here to learn how to sell more, to get more, to basically increase your bottom line. Because let's face it, you want to increase your bottom line, it all starts with sales. To get sales, you need buyers to be in front of you. So we're going to take a look at that. And we're not going to be looking at gimmicks. This is not traditional stuff. This is all non-traditional. The biggest challenge you're going to have is to unlearn what you've learned in the past and look at a new way and have an open mind. So the good news is this. You're going to stand apart from the competition. We're going to give you stuff that is so different that you're going to be able to understand buyers much better than you ever have before. You're going to outsmart your competition. You're going to deal with objections. You're not even going to have objections, and we're going to show you how to avoid that. And of course, you're going to turn your selling process into a buying process. You're going to start to make the money you want to make without any more effort in the past. As a matter of fact, we're going to show you how to be in control of the sales process and make a difference in your life so that you could actually live the life of your dreams and do whatever you want to do in life. Now, my plan over this next hour is to reveal to you the fastest, easiest, and most effective way to capture, convert, and get buyers to buy your products or services and totally eliminate your competition. We're looking at market dominance by being different than everyone else out there. And this is where you as a small business owner, an entrepreneur, a speaker, coach, or non-selling professional can crush your sales targets, exceed your income of the past years, and live a more fulfilled life. Because it's all about that. Why do we go to work? It's because we have dreams. And it's not for the money. It's what the money can do for us. And it's those dreams that we can turn into reality. So what you're going to witness basically here is a sales system, a 4-step sales system where you get basically no objections. We're going to learn about sins that salespeople make. We're going to look at reasons why people struggle in sales. And the key thing too, and it's key for this, and again, it's the opposite of what salespeople do. Salespeople chase buyers. I'm going to teach you how to have buyers chasing you. And that's going to be in itself worth the time on this call. However, there's a lot of things to you. Part of this call, I want to give you a gift. Years ago, I was very fortunate in that I was invited to one of the world's largest events in Asia, and it's called the National Achievers Congress. And at that Congress, I shared the stage with Robert Kiyosaki. And this is where I launched my book, Up Your Bottom Line. And at the time, it was called Featuring the ABC 123 Sales Results System. That has since been updated with the Velocity Selling System, which I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. For those of you who stick around to the end of the call, we're going to give you a free copy of the book, and we'll show you the links on how you can download it. So stay tuned and stay with us. It's a valuable book. We've sold thousands of these all over the world. Right now, this book is in about 12 languages and in about 15 different countries, and it's also available on Amazon. You can go and check it out there. So let's take a look at this. The fact is this, that if you want to sell more, you have to dominate your market. And people have to view you as a trusted advisor. And of course, it's not just about you making money, but it's about you being of value to your buyers. So we need to teach you how. No one else is teaching these methods today. I'm not going to teach you anything that's unethical. What I'm going to boil it down to is simple human interaction on a step-by-step systematic approach that will put you in control of the sales process. You're not going to get into being a pushy, aggressive person. You're not going to be the traditionally perceived salesperson. You are going to be someone that brings value to your buyers, and you're going to be sought after. As a matter of fact, your buyers will be your secondary sales force because they will be the ones that will be sending you more and more business. So let's keep going. There's an opportunity here. You know, many times we see this, that you're about to discover something that's going to just make a difference to your profit. At the end of the webinar, I'm going to invite you to explore how we could work together to utilize this shift of sales approach to help skyrocket your bottom line, because that's what it's all about. The more you sell, the better your bottom line is going to be. And this is where we're going to make a difference. To do this, though, as I mentioned earlier, you have to be open to learning and implementing something new. This is non-traditional. For traditional people who've used traditional techniques and all these gimmicks in the past, you got to have to unlearn that, because today the buyers are in control. And salespeople, no matter what you are as an entrepreneur or non-selling profession, it's your job to be in control of the sales process. It's your job to help people discover their real problems and help them to discover the solutions. So not only do I want you to have an open mind, you have to have a product or service that will bring value to others. And if you don't have something that brings value, don't waste your time even in sales, because it's all about bringing value. As I mentioned earlier, the sales profession is about to become extinct. And the only way this profession is going to last or survive is if we bring so much value to our buyers that they will actually pay us to sit in front of them and have conversations with them. So, and the other thing is, of course, I don't want you to ever let your self-doubt stop you from having what you want. The other book I wrote is called The Discipline for Life. You are the author of your future. And it's all about living the life of your dreams. And it forms the foundation to the buyer-focused velocity selling system. And we're going to cover some points in that as well. So by the time I'm finished, there'll be two things we will have done. You'll discover a new step-by-step approach to sales and how it's going to help you increase your bottom line. You're also going to make more money using this system than you ever made before, because it's so simple, and when you get to understand how the human behavior interacts with people and how you can be in control of that, that will make you more money than ever before, and that I guarantee you. Now, my story, I started as a young boy. I think I was 6 years old when I go to school, well, grade 1, I can remember that. And after school, all the kids were playing sports, playing on their bikes, etc., and I never had that childhood. I went back to the business and helped my family in the business. My brothers, my sisters were involved in the operations end. I was involved more in the marketing and sales end. I would be the guy in the front store selling the products, etc. Well, by the time I'm 11, I had succeeded in my life in the sense of running part of the business. But then I lost my teenage years, and that's too long a story to get into, where I lost my self-confidence, I lost my self-belief, and I hid from the world. It wasn't until I was about 18 years old that I woke up. And when I woke up, I got exposed to the powers of the mind. And I reflected inwardly, and I started to believe in myself again. I started to live my life from the inside out. And as I did that, I got exposed to goal setting and how the mind works. And I became I got into door-to-door sales after graduating with honors degree in marketing based on the education I got from my parents in their business. However, at age 30, I had 5 major goals. I had it all in the palm of my hands, and guess what? I lost it all. I did over $100,000 in 5 days in commissions alone. And then within 2 months, less than 2 months, I had lost more than $250,000. I took that money, invested in another project, only to find out that the people that owed me that money decided not to pay me. And this is where my life took a bit of a change. And I learned a lot there. Up until this point, up at age 30, I never had any formal sales training. Every corporate job I had, they gave me product training, but they never taught us how to sell it. So I was just going off of one thing. And I learned this at a young age. People do not buy products. They do not buy the brand. And a lot of times, they got to buy the person selling the brand, the product, etc. So what we need to do first is get people to buy us. Once they buy us, they'll buy anything we have to sell. So there's a whole story there. But here's where life started to change for me. I had to really sell to make a difference, or else I would starve. So I would do anything, and I used traditional techniques, and I learned from those mistakes. And today, I could tell you, when I got involved in understanding sales from a different perspective, from a human relations perspective, from understanding the human being, that's where my life changed forever. Because if I believe in me, guess what? Other people will also believe in me. If I believe in my product or service, and I've got the passion for it, other people will as well. And that's where it all starts. It all starts within us. So part of my job today is to take you on that inward journey. So here's the thing, just to give you some background. My story, I'm an accomplished author, speaker, trainer, coach. I've worked in 47 countries around the world. I've worked with anywhere from small businesses to corporate businesses, Dubai Properties, Bulgaria, and Rome. I've done quite well for myself, and I'm quite happy and content, and most of all, thankful. I speak to large owners, large audiences of business owners in various parts of the world. Dubai has been a hub of mine for over 15 years. I would go there 6 to 8 times a year, and I still go there 2 or 3 times a year. However, I'm still trying to reduce my travel because I have spent up to 30 days a year in the air, not transfers, in the air. Singapore was my other hub, and I spent a lot of time there, have a lot of great friends. But both these hubs have gotten me into all these other countries and opened up opportunities for other people in the world to learn the velocity selling system. I can remember one time even going into Pakistan, and they didn't have a visa for me, and they ended up sending me back up in a private jet. Flew me first class. I had to go back to Dubai, get a visa, got the visa, and they were good enough to fly me back in their own private jet. It was quite the experience. I've shared the stage with Brian Tracy last year in Dubai, Robert Kiyosaki in Singapore in 2001, Jack Canfield last year in Arizona, Ivan Meisner just a month ago in Dubai, Ivan Meisner, the founder of BNI, Business Network International, and many other famous speakers all over the world. And I've been honored to have these people as friends and people that we share with. My new lifestyle today, I spend more time with my family than I ever have, even though for the last 16 years I've traveled with them. They've come with me. Both my sons have traveled around the world with me. My wife comes with me 3 or 4 times a year. I'm working a lot less and I'm making a lot more. We enjoy vacations. I live in my dream home. I don't have to worry about money. This is my house right here in the Gatineau Hills outside of Ottawa, the capital of Canada. I am 20 minutes to downtown capital of Canada. I'm on a large river. This is a fall picture. You can see the colors. We're in the house of our dreams and we love it here. This is the view I get from my balcony, and again, it's in the fall season when all the colors are there. It's a lifestyle, and it's hard for me to leave this these days, and I really have forced me to reduce my travels and help more people by reaching out through webinars such as Webinarswaps, which is such a great organization. So, what did I do to take control of my life, to get my success? When you take control of your life, it means taking control of your thoughts, taking control of your actions, taking control of the things under your control. And that's where it all started for me, realizing that all I have in life is me. And in audiences all over the world, I always ask this question: who is the most important person in the world? Are you not the most important person in the world? And if you said, I am, good answer. You deserve a prize. The thing is this, a lot of people will say my spouse, my children. The thing is, if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of anybody else. The second question I always ask is, who is your greatest enemy? And I always get that answer really quick: me. You see, we're going to learn a little bit about ourselves today, but this is where it all starts. You want success in life? You want to live the life of your dreams, the things you want to accomplish, your goals? This is where it all starts. The bottom line is taking control of your life and also knowing how to react to situations and how, of course, to sell yourself. But I don't want to use the word sell because I'm more into buying, facilitating the buying process. So today I'm going to share with you how to create the life of your dreams so you could live whatever you like. You can make more money, you could drive the cars you want, you could go on the vacations you like, or buy the home you like. These are the bottom line here. I ask people around the world in my seminars, why do you go to work? Everywhere, everyone gives me the same answer: money. Let me give you one of my techniques right now. In sales, you never accept somebody's first answer. Their first answer is never the truth. We call this technique the rule of 3+. You listen to the answer, you question the answer. You listen to the answer, you question the answer. You're taking people down a funnel of self-discovery so that they discover the truth for themselves. I ask you, why do you go to work? To make money. Well, make money to do what? To have a certain lifestyle. And the more I question you about the lifestyle, the more you're going to start to reveal to me your dreams, the things you want to live in life. And it's those dreams that are the core motivation for you doing what you want to do. And when you associate that dream with the reason why you're going to work, well, you get excited about going to work because you know that every day that you're going to work, it's bringing you one step closer to the realization of your dream. You see, work is nothing but a stepping stone to helping you get where you want to go. The problem with society today is most people do not know where they want to go. So, why the velocity selling system? Well, let's face it. Today, buyers are more resistant than ever. You know, we're looking at people, salespeople today are lacking a sales system. They're falling into the buyer system, and the buyers are in control. And they don't know better. What they know are traditional techniques. There's more competition than ever before. There's lack of cash flow. Sales cycles are taking too long. Margins are eroding. The bottom line is behind projection. And the list goes on and goes on. Why? Well, there's a couple of things. One, traditional sales methods. People are using things that no longer work. Think about it. You're all buyers. When you see a salesperson and they use the same techniques time and time again, well, in time, they've educated you on what they're going to do. You know yourself, you could walk into a retail outlet, and what's the salesperson going to say to you right off the bat? Can I help you? And what are you going to say, even if you know what you want? No, thank you, I'm just looking. If you continue to use those same techniques, you're going to get the same results. Try changing your question, and you can get different results. So the problem here is people are using traditional sales methods. They're going in doing a presentation. It's all about me. It's all about my products, my services, etc. And then, of course, it's the same thing. You look at sales training today. Sales training today is still the same. It's still 1, 2, or 3-day seminars. And research has proven that within 90 days, you forget what you've learned in the first 30 days or in the first 3 days. So it's lacking that way. And the only way to get over this is to have what we call continuous training. Learning a little bit, applying it in the real world, coming back, learning a little more, applying it in the real world, and so on. Continuous training over the course of a year can change attitudes, behaviors, competencies, and have a major impact on your bottom line. So sales training has to be continuous. The other problem that's out there is people are target focused. Sales managers are putting pressure on all kinds of people. You as a business owner are putting pressure on yourself, and maybe if you have salespeople, the same thing, to reach the target. The other thing is you're focused on you. You're focused on you making money. You're focused on you getting a sale. You're focused on you getting, meeting that bottom line. These are the things you have to change. You have to be focused on the buyer and their needs and how you could bring value to them. And in return, that's where you really get a massive return on investment. So why the velocity selling system? Well, studies show that commission salespeople are working from commission check to commission check. They're falling behind on mortgage payments, rents, etc. And it's not their fault. They can only work with the knowledge that they have or the guidance they're getting from the people around them. And if they don't get any sort of good formal education on sales processes, and if they don't have a sales system, they're going to continue to fall in this category. So what we're going to do today is share with you the 4 steps to success. And basically, it's as simple as A, B, C, and D. A is basically attitude. Now, most sales training systems bring you right into sales structures, the things you need to do. Well, I'm going to take you from right to the core. The core is attitude, the foundation of all successful people. And we're going to take a look at attitude, and then we're going to look at behavior, and then we're going to look at the competencies, and then we're going to look at the word discipline, doing what you have to do even when you don't want to do it. So to take a look at these, let's take a look at each of them. Attitude, we're going to look at belief from within, and that's the foundation of all successful people. Behavior is the things you do on a daily basis. It's your habits. Whether they're ineffective or effective, we need you to create effective habits so that you can reach your bottom line. Then we're going to take a look at the competencies, and this is where the buyer-focused velocity selling system comes into play. And then, of course, disciplines. So let's take a look at attitude. There's three components here in attitude, and we spend a lot of time on each of these, and unfortunately we don't have a lot of time to get into them in detail. And what I'm going to do from each category of A, B, C, D is pick one of them and go into a little bit of depth so you get a feeling for what the system's like. So we're going to look at attitude towards you, attitude towards your organization, attitude towards buyer. What I'm going to do is focus on the most important one here, your attitude towards you. Now, in attitude towards you, we cover your rights. You have a lot of rights in life. There's 10 of them that we get very clear on, but there's 3 of them that I want to explain more so with you. My first question to you is, do you have the right to ask? Obviously, the answer is going to be yes. So my then question would be, why don't you ask more often? And why don't people ask? Because of fear. Fear of what? Fear of rejection. Here's the thing. If you don't ask, you don't get. If you have the courage to ask, what are the odds of getting a positive response? Is it not 50-50? At least by asking, you got a 50% chance of getting a positive response. And if you get a no, did you lose anything? How can you lose something you never had in the first place? So are you not better off to ask than not ask? And ASK is an acronym or short form, and it stands for something that's very important. A stands for ask. And when you ask, you all know the answer to this. It's been around for over 2,000 years. A stands for ask. Ask and you will receive. S, seek, and you will find. Knock, K for knock, and the door will be open. But here's the important question. When was the last time you sat down with the most important person in the world and asked that person, looking in the mirror, what do you want out of life? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? Once you've asked that, well, now you know what you want. Then you could go seeking, and it's in the seeking that the opportunities come straight in front of you. And then all you have to do is have the courage to knock or ask. You don't knock, the door's not going to be open. You don't ask, you don't get. So make it a practice to ask more often. And by the way, asking, this is the foundation to the velocity selling system as well as the foundation to your life. The second one, do you have the right to fail? Of course you do. But most people don't allow themselves to fail. As a matter of fact, most people today, most adults, don't have the courage they had when they were 5 years, 6 years old. They've lost all that because they've beaten themselves up. Because every time they fail, they beat themselves up. They lower their self-esteem. They lower their self-confidence. They lower their self-respect, and in turn, lower their self-worth and their net worth. Well, I'll tell you what. I learned a long time ago that when you fail, the outcome is a lesson learned. You have to fail often to succeed once. Walt Disney went bankrupt 13 times before Disney World ever became a success. How many failures do you allow yourself to go through to learn? Well, I'll tell you what. At age 22, I could be like the rest of the world. Think about it. What happens when you think about doing something? Fear sets in. F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. It's only real in your head. And the more you think about that fear, the more you attract it into your life. Well, you got to get over the fear, and the only way to get over it is face it. So, you got to fail often to succeed once. I could think about it, but if I think about it, fear sets in. With fear comes indecision. With indecision comes procrastination. With procrastination comes paralysis, and we don't do a darn thing. So I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to be the opposite. I don't want to think about things. And if I don't think about it, what's the opposite of thinking about it? Let's be like Nike. Let's just do it. And what's the worst thing that can happen if we just do it? I fail. And what's the outcome of failure? I learn. So rather than beating myself up like most people do, I build myself up. At age 22, I gave myself permission to have 10 learning opportunities a day. Permission to go and try things I've never tried before. Permission to fail. And as I fail, I didn't beat myself up. I would seek out the lesson learned. The minute I got a lesson learned, I'd be tapping myself on the back and congratulating myself for having the courage to do something I never did before. Keep up the good work, Bob. In the process, I'm building my self-confidence, my self-esteem, my self-respect, my self-worth, and ultimately, my net worth. And that's the important part. And if you take a look at the word fail, F-A-I-L, first attempt in learning. You have to fail often to succeed once. Please do me a favor. Give yourself permission to have 10, 15 learning opportunities a day. Today, I could tell you, I've failed so often in my life that success is now in the palm of my hand. And if anything contributes to that success, is because I went out and I did things. I tried things. I failed and I learned from them. The other thing that I want to share with you here is a little bit about the BAFAR system. The BAFAR system basically is your beliefs determine your attitudes. Your attitudes determine how you feel. How you feel determines the actions you take. The actions you take determine the results in your life. I believe that we're all equal human beings, regardless of race, religion, color, nationality, sex, title, or role. We all came into this world as perfect tens. Beautiful human beings, all equal. We get exposed to the outside world, family, religion, politics, education, teenage years. We take the outside influences, we internalize them. In turn, we create our own limitations, our own barriers, and we become who we are today. I can't change your beliefs, but I do know who can. But are you willing to take the time to sit down and take a look at some of the baggage you're carrying back from your teenage years or your youth? Because only you could clean it up. You're an adult now. You should be able to distinguish between fact and fiction, what's real about you and what's not real about you. And this is where the BAFAR system comes in. There's a lot I could tell you about this right here, but I just don't have the time. There's some great stories on how, I've changed my beliefs in so many different ways because I've taken the time to reflect. From rainy days. Rainy days are not gloomy days anymore. They're my most inspirational days. And only you can change your beliefs. And this is where we spend a lot of time on this particular issue. But I've got a lot more that I want to cover with you. The key question I have for you here is, do you want to continue to lead your life from the outside in, or do you want to lead your life from the inside out? Because I'll tell you what right now, success is inside you. Motivation is internal. It's not external. External motivation is temporary. I can't motivate you. Only you can motivate you. Discipline is internal. It's not external. These are all things within you. You've been gifted with so much. Realize what you've got. Get yourself back up to a 10. And we have exercises to help you get there, because this is the foundation. If you don't believe in you, will anyone else believe in you? Quite often we get people to rank their levels of belief, whether it be in themselves or their organization, on a scale of 1 to 10. And I could tell you that number that you pick between 0 and 10 is written on your forehead, and your body represents that number clearly. If you're full of confidence and self-belief, you will walk around like a 10 and you'll stand tall. However, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your product, your service, your organization, and your head's down, it's going to show. And that's what people buy. People want to buy people that are confident. People want to hang around with experts, successful people. And if you don't believe in you, nobody else will believe in you. You can't give something to somebody else if you don't have it inside to give away. Enough said on that. Let's take a look at behavior. We look at behavior again in 3 different areas. 1, behavior towards yourself, the most important person in the world. And this is where we ask you, why do you go to work? So that you could set out some personal goals. One of the biggest problems in the corporate world is they get people to set organizational goals and performance reviews, but they never teach them how to set personal goals. How can I be successful at accomplishing an organizational goal if I can't accomplish my own personal goal? How can I give you something if I don't have it for myself? So we teach people from a personal level how to accomplish those goals. Then we look at business goals. And then we look at things like tracking your behavior so that you know how to get the best return on your time invested. I refer to this as ROI. People think ROI is important, return on investment. Money is not the only thing of value in the world. As a matter of fact, time is more valuable than money. Money comes and goes. Time just goes. So what we need to do is respect time. Time is where I'm always looking at. And that's why I'm always looking at ways of how can I make the best ROI out of my day. How can I get the best return on my time invested? So when we take a look at business goals, we look at call to close ratios. We look at things called pay time, no pay time. We look at tracking your behavior so that you know where you can get the best return on your time invested. And of course, the third part is being the behavior towards your buyers. And this is where we really talk about ROI. And this is something that may be of benefit to all of you. I always like to break down our buyers into 3 categories, and I call them A, B, C. And let me put the whole slide up. A is absolute. It goes back to the 80-20 rule. 80% of our revenue comes from 20% of our customers. We call these our A customers. Absolutely necessary. Without them, we are out of business. B is beneficial. C is convenient. If you look at the airline industry, first class, business class is your absolute customer. Economy is your beneficial. Convenient, your seat sale. Get the idea? Now, when I ask the question to audiences around the world, and I say, which one of the 3 is the biggest pain in the butt, A, B, or C? I always get C as the answer. And then I say, okay, which one wants the biggest discount? And they say C again. Which one deserves the biggest discount? A. What happens if A finds out C got a better discount? You just lost 80% of your revenue. Get the idea? Then I ask this question. Where do salespeople, where do business owners, where do consultants spend 80% of their time? On A, B, or C? And the answer I always get is on C. The question now is, where should each and every one of you on this webinar spend 80% of your time? On your A's. However, the problem is this. Not everybody knows who their A's are. So let me just give you a simple technique here on what you can do. If you were to go to your existing database, and what I'd like you to do is identify your best customers, your top 20% that give you that 80% of the revenue. And I would like you to profile them, but profile them based on criteria. What criteria would make your A customer, what is it, what is the criteria that makes your customers the best of customers? Is it revenue? Is it margin? Is it loyalty? Is it years of service? You have to decide that. But for simple math, let's say right now, using revenue, A clients are $1 million and over in revenue. B clients maybe are from 500,000 to $1 million, and C clients are under 500,000. That's using criteria based on revenue. Then what you do is you go to your database and you identify all your clients as an A, B, or C. I want you to put all your A's together in one pile, all your B's together in another. Then I want you to profile them as best you can. What age are they? What education? What's their position? What kind of charitable organizations they belong to or social clubs they belong to? And then, of course, what I want you to do is have that profile of them. Then you take that profile and you put it out on the marketplace and you identify potential A and B customers. And then, of course, you go out and you look at ways to attract them. And what I'm going to share with you next is how do you attract buyers. So what we're looking at here is put your focus where you could get the best RODI, return on time invested. You'll get a lot better RODI dealing with A customers than C customers. C customers, put them on, let them buy different ways. Our junior salespeople over the telephone, over the internet. Your job would be to focus on your high-end buyers where you can get the maximum revenue. Now, when we look at this, we look at 3 different strategies. We look at a regain strategy. How do you regain lost buyers? Well, first of all, you have to accept the blame. You got to go and ask them questions. Where did we go wrong, and what's it going to take to get your business back? Simple questions. Retain strategy. What are you doing to retain your existing A, B, and C customers? But most important, A and B. A lot of airline industries have these loyalty programs. A lot of businesses have loyalty programs. Customer appreciation events, new product launches, this sort of thing. So here's the thing. If you invite a bunch of A clients to an event and tell them to bring a friend with them, what kind of a friend do you think they're going to bring? They'll bring an A or a B friend. And when they come, do you have to do any selling? No. The A person will do the selling for you. All you have to do is be there to make them comfortable and have the relationship. So let's go on to number 1, gain strategy. This is probably the most important part of the whole velocity selling system when it comes to reversing the way you do business. Right now, you may be chasing after buyers. We have to turn this around so that buyers chase you. And that's the whole message behind a personal marketing plan. The question here is this: what can you do in the marketplace to position yourself as an expert so that people come looking for you by name? And that's where you got to get out of the box and think of different strategies. And this is areas where we help you do that so that you can identify exactly what you need to do so that buyers come chasing you. A very simple example. Let's say your clients all belong to a Rotary Club, and you could become a member of the Rotary Club. That allows you networking opportunities. You could become an active member of the Rotary Club, but that requires a lot of time. And if you're an active member, everyone's going to know who you are, and of course they're going to buy from you. But you've got no budget. You don't have the time commitment for these sort of things. So what if you were to get a 30-minute presentation slot to teach them something of value? Give them educational value, not sell them a thing, not even try to sell, but to give them something of value. If you're a consultant and you work in human resources and you want to share with them some tips on how to motivate your team or how to hire better, how to maintain employee satisfaction, these sort of things. So it's coming up with that title and sharing messages with them. Now here's the thing. You got 100 people in front of you. Where are you going to get the best roadie? As a salesperson or as a business owner selling one-on-one, half an hour, and at the end of that half hour, you're going to be chasing after the buyer. The other hand is you position yourself as an expert in front of an audience of 100 people. At that end of the half hour, who's going to be chasing who? You won't get 100 people chasing you, but you'll get a high percentage of that audience looking for you by name, wanting to do business with you. Now, there's a lot of ideas in this category of things you could do, but that's the way you got to position yourself. We call this a pull strategy, not a push strategy. By pulling, you're attracting buyers. And what we do, the whole principle behind the buyer focused velocity selling system, is to attract, engage, and empower buyers to buy. So allow me to continue. Some of the things we share with you in the velocity selling system is the buyer system and how they buy and their four-step system. You're all buyers out there. You know how to buy, and when I share that with you, you'll understand it fully. Here's the other thing you need to know, though. First, how buyers buy, so you can relate to it. Secondly, the four universal needs of buyers. All buyers have the same needs. You need to know these needs, and you need to apply them in your day-to-day interaction. And then, of course, there's only four positive outcomes to a buyer encounter. You can call it a sales call. I like to call it a buyer encounter. Whenever you have a buyer in front of you, there's only four positive outcomes. One, you get a sale, a yes. Two, it's no. You get no sale, they're not qualified. Because in this system, you're qualifying them. They're not qualifying you. You'll never have to deal with rejection, and you'll never have to deal with objections. The third one, of course, if you don't get a yes, you don't get a no, maybe is not good enough, and that's unacceptable. You go for what we call a clear future. A clear future is you know exactly what's going to happen next and when it's going to happen, and it comes out of the buyer's mouth as a form of a commitment, not your mouth. And then, of course, the fourth one, if you didn't get 1, 2, or 3, you failed. And what do you get if you fail? A lesson learned. Okay, I screwed up. I didn't get a yes, I didn't get a no, I didn't get a clear future. What can I do better next time to make sure I do? So let's take a look at the buyer focused velocity system. There's three things that you have to master first to master this system. One, you've got to be buyer focused. Buyer focused means it's not about you, it's not about your product, it's not about your company, it's none of that stuff. You got to put the focus on the buyer and be there 100% for them. You got to get them to open up, to get talking, you got to keep them talking. You got to build that trust and be buyer focused, being focused on their objectives, their needs, not yours. You have to engage the buyer. And this is a very important part. This is one of the most important parts of this whole system, buyer engagement. And the way you engage buyers, you never say anything, you ask questions. As a matter of fact, we have a rule that we share. Just to distinguish it from the 80-20 rule, I call it the 70-30 rule. 70% of the time you should be listening. 30% of the time you should be asking questions. In other words, you take 70 and 30, that's 100%. There's no room for talking. And as someone recently said to me, you know, if you're selling, you're telling. And telling is talking. And if you're talking, you're spitting in someone's face. And no one wants to be spat on. However, if you're asking questions and listening, you're showing interest, you're building trust, and you're building a long-term relationship. And why do people buy? They buy from people they like, they trust, people that remind them of themselves. So the buyer engagement is very important. And then, of course, the final one, buyer empowerment. First of all, by being buyer focused, you're putting the attention on them. By engaging them, you're already empowering them. But when I say buyer empowerment, what I'm saying there is that they buy, you don't sell them. There's no closing technique that I'm going to teach you here other than, what would you like me to do next? And you let the buyer say, well, here's my credit card, or what do I need to sign? These are buyers that are buying. Now, let me ask you a question. Wouldn't it be nice to have buyers chasing you? Would you like to have that in your life? Have buyers chasing you? Would you like buyers referring people to you because of the value you bring them? Would you like to engage buyers and qualify them at the same time? Would you like to be in control of the sales process? These are all things that this section right here will give you. Now let me show you the 4 steps to the buyer focus velocity selling system. Now let's understand one thing. People buy from people. People they like, people they trust. And really when you think about it, it's all about relationships. And I don't want you to be thinking about selling anymore. I want you to be thinking about creating relationships. The more relationships you have, the bigger your network. The bigger your network, the bigger your net worth. By focusing on network, that's where every transaction you're going to have is going to come out of your network. And by focusing on building and maintaining relationships, you're increasing your network. So what we do in the first module here is understand how to build relationships. We're going to look at qualifying buyer opportunities, because there's no sense providing a solution to somebody if you don't know if they're qualified or not. Why would you waste your time doing a presentation to someone who doesn't have money or doesn't have a need? And then, of course, what we do is we call this prescribing solutions. It's a presentation, but it's based on prescription, based on buying motivators, financial ability, and decision making. And then, of course, this is where the buyer also buys. And then the fourth step is maintaining that relationship and creating a secondary sales force. So let me get into details on each one of these. One of the main things we teach in the building relationship is finding commonality. And we use neuro-linguistic programming as a base for this, where they teach us about the rapport pie. And in the rapport pie, what they figured out is that physiology, our body language, speaks far louder than any words we could ever say. Look at it. Words are only 7%, and yet people focus on words. Tonality is 23%. Physiology is 70%. Now, what we do in this section is we teach you step by step on how you could use your physiology, your tonality, well, sorry, I said your, it's not yours, how you could use your physiology to work with the buyer to make them feel comfortable. Because you see, if we're buyer focused, our physiology should be like their physiology. The technique is called mirroring and matching. A lot of people do this naturally, females especially. But I tell you what, once you learn this, you can meet people and you can build rapport with something as quick as a handshake. Very simple technique, and it's away from the traditional aggressive handshake. Because I tell you what, I come across people, I shake their hands, and they're soft. And if I give them an aggressive handshake, guess what? We're not going to connect. But if they give me a soft handshake and I give them a soft one back, right there, bang, oh, hey, I like this guy. He's just like me. And this is where we get into in-depth on each one of these components here, so you fully understand it and practice it in the real world before you go on. This is a step-by-step approach. You have to master one step at a time before you can proceed to the next step. You try to learn too much too quick, you screw up. The idea is to master it one step at a time. The next section, we call this qualifying buyer opportunities. Now, how do you know when you have rapport? When the buyer doesn't stop talking. Your job is to get them to open up, to keep them talking, and keep them talking. When they don't stop talking, you know you got rapport. Then you interject and you set the parameters. And let me just give you an example how that would go. And I'm just going to, if you don't mind, Rich, I'm just going to use you as your name. And if you're on the line, if you don't mind playing the role with me, I think it'd be a great experience if you're available. If not, I'll just answer it myself. Oh, by the way, Rich, how much time do you set aside for our meeting today? 15 minutes. Oh, okay, Rich, what is it you would like to accomplish in the next 15 minutes? Well, I'd like to know what you have to offer. Well, that's great, Rich. I'd also like to know a little bit about you and your organization. Is it okay if we ask each other some questions? Sure, Bob. Do you mind if I take some notes, Rich? Oh, go right ahead. And by the way, Rich, I can't solve all the world's problems, and I may not be able to help you. If I feel I can't help you at any time, is it okay if I tell you no, I can't help you? In other words, is it okay if we be honest with each other and just work on yes or no answers? Because a lot of times people say think it over, and think it over really means no, and it ends up wasting your time. And the last thing I want to do today is waste your time. I like that, Bob. I'll be happy to work on honest yes, no answers. Let's do that. This simple act alone will cut your sales cycle in half. It also brings down the barriers. People feel comfortable that you're not here trying to sell them. Our next job then, of course, is to uncover buying motivators. People buy for emotional reasons. The two biggest emotions are pain or pleasure. Are you selling pain relief or are you selling pleasure? So your job here is to identify all your solutions. And then next to that list of solutions, this solution solves what pain or what pleasure. List all the pains or pleasures. Then in the third column, what question do I need to ask to uncover the pain or pleasure to which I have a solution? Because what you're going to do is take people through a questioning process so that they discover their pain for themselves, so that they own it, and you're going to take them to the point where they feel emotional by asking a simple question, well, how would that make you feel? And when you get them feeling it emotionally, you've taken them to a deeper level and you've gotten them an emotional hook. So the more pain you gather, the more gain that you'll get. Now that we've identified the buying motivators, we summarize them and say, so if I understand you correct, Rich, you got this issue, this issue, this issue. By the way, have you got a budget set aside for this? Yes. Would you mind sharing that with me in round numbers? And the whole idea here is to, we call this scripting. Ask a question. What answers can you get? Based on the answers you can get, What question would you ask next? So by the way, Rich, do you have a budget set aside for this? No. Well, how do you intend on proceeding? You know what I mean? You got them in a spot. Let's say, have you got a budget set aside for this? Yes. Would you mind sharing that with me in round numbers? I'd like to, Bob, but I can't. I can't reveal that. Okay, Rich. Well, you got to understand that we have services that go anywhere from 5 to 10,000 and 10 to 20,000. Are you in the 5 to $10,000 range or the 10 to $20,000 range? In other words, we got to get them bracketed. The bottom line here is you should never, never, never be the first one to put price on the table. Always the buyer and always get their budget. And if they come, well, how much is it going to cost? And if they force you to reveal price, reveal their highest price. So now we got buying motivators, budget, and by the way, when will you be making the decision and who besides yourself is involved in the decision-making process? Then you summarize. So Rich, if I understand you correctly, you got this issue, this issue, this issue, you got this much money set aside, and you're going to make a decision tomorrow, and you're the sole decision maker. Is that correct? Yes. Do you remember earlier, Rich, I mentioned to you that I'd be honest with you and tell you, no, I can't help you? Based on what you're telling me in the budget you have allocated to it, I'm afraid I can't help you. In other words, what you've done here is you've qualified the buyer to determine whether they're qualified or not. In this case, they may not be qualified. Don't waste your time, and more importantly, don't waste their time. Tell them, as you did earlier, that you're being honest with them. However, if you can refer them to someone, if you can help them with that solution, that's all the better. You're maintaining the relationship for a future sale because you want to maintain it because it will be in a better position in the future. Or they may know someone that they could refer to you. So that's your out right there. If you can help me, remember earlier, Rich, I told you I'd be honest with you and tell you I can help. I believe I can help you. I believe I have a solution to your problems. I'm ready to give you that solution now. Are you still okay with being honest with me and giving me a yes or no answer at the end of my presentation? And they'll always say yes. Why else would you want to give a presentation without a commitment up front of what would happen next? One of the things you learn in this system is you never do something without first getting a commitment of what the next steps will be. So that covers the buying qualifiers. And then, of course, we prescribe a solution. We give a solution based on what we've learned. We call this, the rule here is sell today, educate tomorrow. You sell them on what the needs were within the budget, within the time frame. Once the sale is made, you educate them about all the other features and benefits. This is where you bring in added value. The biggest problem with people today is they know their products too well, and they tell everybody, they tell buyers everything up front and leave nothing for the tail end, no surprises, no added value. When you give added value, people talk about you, and that's what's important. We teach you how to, the buyer interest level, very simple. And let me just, on the webinar right now, and just in your own heads, on a scale of 0 to 10, how do you find this webinar? 0, this is the worst webinar you ever attended. 10, it's one of the best. If it's 6 or less, you take the blame. Where did I go wrong? If it's 7, 8, or 9, what is it going to take to get you to a 10? If it's a 9, you could say, well, Rich, is it fair to say you really work on a scale of 1 to 9 and 10 doesn't exist? Yeah, he'll have a little laugh. And then if they say 10 or 9, my next line would be, okay, what would you like me to do next? And I'm empowering the buyer to buy. Of course, now that they've bought, we want to maintain that relationship, develop it for further business. Relationships is not just about business, it's also personal. We're getting into a partnership, a long-term, and we need to maintain those relationships. So here we discuss all kinds of strategies from the very first, thank you for doing business with us, right through to maintaining and engaging that relationship for referrals, introductions, and creating a secondary sales force. Now, after we've gone through all this, we then get into exercises on disciplines, doing what you have to do. We look at discipline in 3 different spots. Disciplines towards yourself. In other words, a discipline that I do on a daily basis, I could share with you. I call it Bob time. Here, basically as simple as this, and I'm only going to do the one here, is what's your most productive time of your day? Morning, noon, day, or night? Well, I decided mine, I realized a long time ago, I was a morning person. So I decided, instead of getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and having a cup of coffee, that I was going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and dedicate 1 hour of my most productive time to the most important person in the world, me. 6 to 7 a.m. is Bob time. Now, here's the key. Any behavior that gets recognized or rewarded gets repeated. At 7 o'clock, I allow myself to have my first cup of coffee. That's my reward. And as I drink that cup of coffee, how much more do you think I enjoy it? Because I've earned it. And at the same time, I give thanks for the fact that I can have a cup of coffee when there's millions of people around this world that cannot get a clean glass of water. Aren't we fortunate? Same thing happens 7, 8 o'clock. I believe in physical fitness. I'll go and do some exercise. 8 o'clock, my reward is breakfast. And again, I give thanks when there's children in our neighborhood going to school hungry every morning. Now, I go and do a seminar at 9 o'clock in the morning. How do you think I feel? How do you think I can perform? The bottom line is this: how could I give you something if I don't have it inside to give away? And that's why this discipline in particular is very important. I have many other disciplines. As a matter of fact, I've taken my 10-year goals. I've broken them down to years. I take my years, break them into quarters, my quarters into months, my months into weeks, my weeks into days, and I define my daily behaviors, my daily disciplines, the things I need to do each and every day to help me get where I want to be 10 years from now. And that is the key thing. So, the challenge I've had with the system: everybody wants one-day miracles. You're on the webinar for 1 hour. I can't give it to you in an hour. Corporate budgets aren't what they used to be. I would be flown business class all over the world, paid big bucks to do one-day events. I believe in continuous learning. Many companies hired me for 30 days a year where I've changed, revamped their whole sales process, changed attitudes, behaviors, bottom lines have increased, doubled, quadrupled, etc. People today don't have the money. And my whole desire was, how can I get beyond the one-day miracles? How can I make this accessible and affordable to the common business owner, to the common consultant, to the common person on the street? Because I'm on a mission to change the way sales operates. And this is what I wanted to do. So when you take a look at this, imagine, what would it be like to have every aspect of your sales process under your control, running smoothly, not draining you of energy, making you feel powerful, prosperous, and successful? Imagine making more sales faster, easier, and getting more referrals, more word of mouth, more of a secondary sales force working for you. Life would be easy, wouldn't it? And it can be. All you have to do is follow the steps in the velocity selling system. Now, there's 3 basic things. Number 1, you got to follow a model that works. This model has been implemented in over 47 countries around the world. It has been proven itself with major brand names, from Bulgari jewelry in Rome to Dubai properties to Imperial Oil to Petronas in Malaysia, various companies around the world. It's the simplest path is often the best. I am a simple person. I have created a very, very simple sales system, and it's a system that's human interaction. How do you get other people to do the things you want them to do without telling them? How can you get people to take ownership? And that's what it's all about. And then, of course, taking it seriously, committing to it, and making it happen. This is where discipline comes in, and that's why it's so important. So, is this a good time for you to transform your business? Maybe transform your life? Do you want more time, more money, freedom? Well, with a little bit of work each and every day, you could change your whole thing. You can transform your business, your life. You can change all your circumstances within the next 30 to 60 days just by doing a few simple things. It all starts with the ability to attract and sell in a continuous, stable, predictable flow with a system that's proven to work. And that's the system I'm sharing with you, the buyer-focused velocity selling system. Now, I'm introducing to you tonight that system. It took me 3 years to find the world's leader in interactive video virtual training. We partnered and we created over 200 modules that is online and available to people. And it's affordable and accessible to everyone now. And the whole thing is built on you. It's me on the laptop looking at you right in your eyes. It's one-on-one communications with, give you a workbook exercise. You do the exercise, you come back, learn a little more, you get tested, and you go and apply it in the real world. And for those you have teams of salespeople or teams of people that you want to monitor, it has monitoring, tracking, and reporting on everybody. So it's a great system, very interactive, and it's continuous learning at your pace. So who's the system for? Sales professionals, corporate sales teams, entrepreneurs, non-selling professionals, business owners, anyone who wants to learn from the foundation up on how to be in control, not only of the sales process, but of their life. Those people who want to shorten their sales cycle, be sought after, and make more money easier than ever before. So, now that I've said that, what am I out to offer you? And I'm stuck. There we go. There, the system will help you do all of these things. Make more money in sales, save time and energy, basically get you a better return on your energy. You'll surpass targets, you'll shorten sales cycle, you'll build rapport, gain trust, increase margins, profits, and so much more. Let me ask you a question. Do you think this system can help you? Does it make sense to you? Now, okay, I'm having a computer glitch. There we go. Let me share with you what you can get. First of all, we have the Velocity Selling System online, virtual training. And this is an example of it here, a screenshot of it. And you can see where your reports are, my favorites, my vaults, everything's there, your report card, your profile, and you pick the different learning modules, and there's A, B, C, D as you go through it. That has been selling for $3,500, the package, basically on a one-year basis. Now, I don't want to stop there. There's a lot of offers that we want to make to you. Now, this gives you 12 months access to the Buyer Focus Velocity Selling Online Training System. And here's what you get. Well, I'm not going to show you. This is just a testimonial. I have many testimonials on this from from Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, to individuals who've experienced my training worldwide. I'll let you go through it and read it. The thing is this. What makes a difference is not that you took the training or read the book. It's all about doing. There's a great proverb that I picked up one time in Shanghai, China. To know and not to do is not to know. You know? I will teach you what to do. You'll know what to do, but it's you that has to do it. It's the application that makes a difference. And this is one of the key things here, is putting things into action and making it happen. Now, we also will provide you with attendance at the next 3 months group coaching Q&A. In other words, once a month, what we do is we have a group session for all the, we invite all the subscribers to it to come, and we answer questions and answers. And that's a $1,500 value over the next 3 months, once a month. Now, we also are going to give you more. I'm going to provide you with personal email coaching and Skype for 3 months. I will reply to emails within 24 hours, and from a Skype call, we just have to have it scheduled. That itself has got a value of $2,000, and it will help you put all the pieces together and all the puzzles. So it allows me to work with you one-on-one to help you identify the places within your own company or your own business on what you could do differently and make the difference. And of course, you also have access to all our private social network groups on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. Now, when you take a look at this whole thing altogether, you're looking at value of over $10,000. Now, when you look at that, that might sound like a lot of money, but I could tell you I get paid $15,000 per day when I do my live public workshops. That's a big cry. $15,000 for one day versus a whole year whenever you want me. And when we take a look at this, even though that's that, you're risk-free today, we look at this as $197 a month over 12 months of the year. But I don't even want you to do that, okay? Let's put that out of the list. We've got something even better for you. I don't want you to take any risk. I want you to go into the system and witness it for yourself. By joining Velocity Selling, what you're doing, for $7, you have 7 days access. Over those 7 days, you have access to all the learning programs. You could go to the table of contents, you can narrow it down to what you want to specifically learn, and at the end of 7 days, if you don't want it anymore, that's perfectly all right. You could cancel a program and we won't bother you anymore. If you like what you see, you could just continue on with the program on a month-to-month basis. It's your choice. But here's the thing. You'll never know how good it is until you get in there. $7, we're not even talking, we're talking maybe 2 Starbucks coffees. $7 of knowledge from the foundation right through to the whole thing. All you have to do is go to velocityselling.com/webinar-swaps, and that offer is there for you today. So $7, 7-day trial, all the modules are open to you for your review, for your learning. I encourage you to go and visit it. Now, wouldn't it be nice to have buyers chasing you? Wouldn't it be nice to be in control of your life and doing the things you love and getting the return on your time invested and not wasting your time chasing after unqualified buyers or presenting to people who are not qualified. So these are the kind of things. Now here's what I'm going to add to it. 100% ironclad money back guarantee. If you take action now and try to complete the system for 30 days, if you're simply not amazed at how easy and incredibly powerful this system is, you can ask for a refund on your investment. I'm not going to ask any questions. I'll be more than happy to give you your money back. And I could tell you that I have had companies that have paid me close to $250,000 for 30 days in a year. And I've given them that same guarantee. If I don't have an impact on your bottom line, if you're not going to, if I don't pay my own way and give you at least a 10 to 15% increase, I give you your money back. I don't want it. I am results oriented. I am bottom line focused. And I want to make you available to me through this, and this is my guarantee. Now, you can increase your profits, or you don't pay a dime, or you don't pay a penny. Go to velocityselling.com/webinar-swaps and join up now. Now, for those of you who are still with us, I promised you a copy of my book, Up Your Bottom Line. And this is the main components of the velocity selling system. So you may want to take advantage of this. All you have to do is text book 404-445-0781. Simply send a text in and we'll give you the details on how to get the book. Also, if you're not in the US, if you're out of the country, add a 1 on the front of the 404. So 1-404-445-0781. In the US, just 404 would work. If you're outside the country, put a 1 in front of it. And we'll send you that book to you. Now it's time for questions. Any questions from anyone? I'd like to open the floor and look at them, and we'll see if we have any questions here. Rich, are you back with me?
Of course I am. I've been paying close attention. Go back three slides. The one that you have, velocityselling.com/webinar swaps. Go back 1, 2, 3.
Okay, why isn't it going back?
I think it would be 3 slides back. If you can't.
For some reason. Hold on a second. Cancel that. Here we go. 3 slides back. Let me get to this. Oh boy. There we go. I got it.
Keep going.
1, 2, 2.
One more.
There we go.
Stop. All right. I kept looking at that and I says, you know what? I says, how can you not, ladies and gentlemen, take advantage of this today? You can join Velocity Selling Interactive Virtual Training today for only $7. $7 for a 7-day trail. I'm telling you, folks. Now, I want to tell you.
Good one.
I want to let you know that we're going to throw in the raisins and the peanuts. We're going to call it $7 for a 7-day trail mix. Okay. I know you're never coming back to webinar swaps, and I do care, but I'm just a detail guy. All right, folks.
I'm going to make that correction right now so I don't ever make that mistake again.
You're going to? I mean, come on. You only have how many years experience? Please. And folks, I'm telling you, www.velocityselling.com/webinar swaps. What an opportunity to take advantage of everything that Bob was saying tonight. I have to tell you, I was flashing back to almost 40 years of sales experience. Back in 1970, I think it was 75, I went to work for a gentleman by the name of Tom Hopkins, who was basically a guru of the day for selling, teaching people on how to sell and techniques on how to sell. And not much has really changed over the past 40 years. Buyers are still buyers. They buy on feelings, and I think you spoke about that, and I think the feelings that you were talking about, Bob, was pain or gain, pain or pleasure.
Yeah.
They buy on feelings. They also buy on emotions. They buy if they like you.
Exactly.
You say if the salesman is going away. I disagree to a point. You're still going to have some kind of human interaction where people are going to have to like you, because people buy if they like you. If they don't like you, they won't buy from you. That doesn't matter. They could get a better deal somewhere else from somebody who's doubling the price only because they don't like you.
And Rich, Tracy, once they buy you, they'll buy anything you have to sell.
Of course.
And that's why you have to take care of yourself and start with that foundation.
And I used to equate people, people don't care how much you know
until they know how much you
care.
You got it. That's
a
great line.
Yeah, and I feel, you remember how the Allstate guy used to put his hands together and, he's got them cupped in front of him and he goes, "You're in good hands with Allstate." I always used to think until you have a claim, those hands open up, you go, "Oops." You have to be there. Very important. Tracy was saying it's an incredible workshop. Thank you, Tracy, very much. Will this be replayed? She would love to share this webinar. How about this, Tracy? Why don't you sign up for the program, take advantage of this 7-day program, see how well you like that, and not only refer the program, but refer how much you like the program. Wouldn't that be nice to do, Trace? You can say yes. Yes, Rich, I would love to do that. Eric says, I would like to know how many books you have authored.
Well, right at this point, I've got 3 authored. I got a 4th one coming out probably within the next 6 to 9 months. I just completed it. Actually, the 4th and another one too, a 5th one. I just completed 2 books in the last month, actually. So they're out with publishers right now, being reviewed, edited, and all. So at the point, I have 3 books out published. Discipline for Life, You Are the Author of Your Future. Up Your Bottom Line, and Sales Gurus Speak Out, of which I'm a contributor. And the 2
I
new
hate
books
that word.
coming out.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I was just.
I'm telling people I hate that word, and you're going, and I got more books coming out too. You can hate those.
Well, one publisher approached me on how to motivate your team in 30 days. So I just completed that with my son. My son's co-authoring it with me. And then the other book is going to be on velocity selling.
Gotcha. I was thinking about, I don't know where my train of thought was. Oh, it was the word, and you know what? I just think I had a brain fart because
Sorry,
I
I
had a
interrupted
train
you.
of thought, and I said, no, that's, yeah, yeah, what's with that?
Sorry.
Sorry about that. You're talking about your books and your promotions while you're here, and I'm going, but wait, something about me. Hold on. Um,
Remember to be buyer focused now.
oh yeah, I am. I forgot. Hey, enough about me. What do you think about me? No, I was making a point about uh, I was making a point about something. All right, let's go back to something John just said. Link from book text isn't working. Are you familiar with something that would be a problem like that, Bob?
Link from book text isn't working. Are you dialing in that number? Let me just see if I
Oh,
can
that
move
could
forward to that
possibly.
slide and just make sure the number is correct. Is that what you're dialing? 404-445-0781?
Tracy says it worked for her, so that's awesome. Maybe you just might, I got fat fingers, John. I don't know if you have fat fingers or not, but sometimes when I'm pushing the keys on the keyboard on my phone, it texts the wrong one. I don't know. You just got to be. It responded with velocityselling.com. Up your bottom line. Yeah, I love that. Up your bottom line. I also
Yeah.
remember in 1976, up your nose with a rubber hose.
Yeah.
Remember who used to say that?
I
It
remember
was
hearing it. I can't remember who said it.
it was Vinnie Barbarino on Welcome Back, Kotter. Up your
Oh.
hose with a rubber nose. Okay, fine. I'm old. You're old too. You just didn't, you were too busy working. Oh, that's what I remembered. We were talking about hating this word. The word I hate is, well, I don't hate's pretty strong, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty strong about is discipline. You
But
talk about that. I'm going to give you a
I,
chance to answer, but I want to answer for all of us undisciplined because there's more of us undisciplined
mhm.
than there are disciplined. Are there not?
Oh yes, definitely. But you see, people look at the word discipline as a bad word because they think of discipline as a punishment. Discipline is a commitment to the most important person in the world. It means doing what you have to do even when you don't want to do it. For example, I could be out partying tonight and I get in at 2 o'clock in the morning. Do you think I want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning? Let's say I sleep until 9 o'clock. Well, I don't. Now what I do is I don't reward myself, I punish myself. If I didn't do Bob time, I get no coffee. If I didn't do my exercise, I don't get breakfast. And if I get up after 9 o'clock, well, forget it. You don't get anything till noon. And that's the way you need to condition your mind. Any behavior that gets recognized or rewarded gets repeated. And that's why it's so important to master discipline with rewards. So I use little rewards. I use a game of golf at the end of the week as a reward for doing what I say I'm going to do during the week. I use meals, movies. People take the little things we have on a daily basis for granted. When you start treating these little things as rewards, you value them much more and you appreciate it big time. I appreciate my first cup of coffee in the morning like you would not believe. But I appreciate it even more as I reflect on all the people who do not have a clean glass of water.
See, I wouldn't deny myself. I would go ahead and make that cup of coffee right away. I
Well,
remember
that
one.
we all do. Well, you make
Excuse me
it right
one
away,
second.
but
Yeah,
yeah, sorry.
yeah, but you don't drink it for an hour. Son of a man. Yeah, I remember. In fact, it was this morning. I woke up feeling like I wanted to exercise, so I laid back down till that feeling passed. So I'm good. Um, just want to let you know that www. Never come back on again. I know it, but that's all right. I'll see you somewhere out. Eric's going LOL. www.velocityselling.com/webinar swap. $7, folks. How could you not? How could you not take advantage of this? Okay, I'm trying to think why. Why shouldn't I buy? Why should I click off right now? Why should I not spend $7? I'll tell you, the only reason for not spending $7 is you don't have $7 and you can't find it in time to take advantage of this tonight. That's the only reason. Other than that, there's no other reason for you not to take advantage of it. What you could learn in 7 days from
Yeah.
the amount of work that this man has over 16 years experience, 1,000 in front of people, speaking 1,000 times, people up to 10,000 people, and giving you his knowledge of what he's learned over the years by being an author and considered an expert of these books, for you not to take advantage of it for $7 for 7 days, that's $1 a day. What you could learn on that is just, well,
Well,
I don't
you'll
know.
learn how to make 10 times that.
Yeah, 10. How about 20, 30? I mean, come on, $1. All right, so I
Exactly.
go in, you
I
go
can
in there,
multiply.
tomorrow for $1.
Yeah.
And Tom says, yeah, he's got $15 to last 2 weeks. Excuse me, Tom, while I puke. Okay, it's okay. We like Tom. Tom understands, but I'm puking now, Tom. Come on, spend that first paycheck out of your wallet. Tom's going, I'm never listening to Rich again. Embarrass me. Um,
But here's the
anyway,
thing, Tom. If you got $15 for 2 weeks, if you invest it, that $15 now becomes a hell of a lot more money. It could be $1,500 just by applying one of these techniques and
absolutely.
adapting it. If you took one module and just focused on that, but I'm not giving you one. I'm giving you over 200 modules for you to look at, and you get full access, and you can't ask for better than that. You could learn it all if you think you can absorb it all in that period of time. Even on this webinar, I gave you way too much information. It's content heavy, and I'm a content heavy person. My objective is always to try and share everything I know in whatever time allocation I have,
How
and I
many
try to
minutes?
respect that time. And I find that it's too much is too much, and
Yeah,
that's
how
why
many?
people need that time to look at these things and understand it. And that's
Yeah,
why we
yeah,
offer the 7 day $7.
yeah. How many minutes in each module?
Each video will go anywhere from 2 to 7 minutes, and every module is different in length. I'd have to pull up my statistics, but the best thing is just go in and visit it and play around.
Sure,
And
sure.
then, but the best thing is if you got 7 days, there's 4 categories. Start with attitude. Go through the stuff that resonates with you. Then get into behavior. Then get into competencies. Play around with it. You get 7 days is a lot of time. There's 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, I started with your first module that said attitude. Yeah, after I took your test, it said my attitude was bad. I said, screw it. All right. No, no, I'm kidding, folks. Come on, I'm on a roll tonight. I got a new joke book coming out in September. $7, ladies and gentlemen. Do it for the comedy. No, in fact, it's probably no comedy in there. But take advantage of it now. Yeah, what do you say we wrap it up, Bob? I think we've exhausted it. I don't know if I like um, um, the way maybe we could do this a little bit different for the next one that we're going to do. Tom says, I'm always on a roll. Yeah, Kaiser roll. Consider my body's a temple. It might be a Buddha, but it's a temple.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
I
agree.
saw Cindy was having a problem connecting on that text number as well, so I
Yeah,
just put
well,
it back up there.
okay. Yeah, why don't we try to fix that? I got a new joke. Yeah, in fact, it's not a joke anymore. I can't kid about my ex-wife anymore. She hooked herself up to a machine to eat. She's hooked up to a machine to eat. It's a refrigerator. Okay. I'll work on that one. Fine. All right, folks. That's it. We're going to wrap it up. If you can't take advantage of it now, you're not going to take advantage of it. And it's not that we don't want you to take advantage of it. It's just that here's something that this man's put his hard work on the line and he wants to give it to you for $7.
And I really
So
feel
take it.
that I'm reaching a goal, a desire in my life to make this accessible and affordable to everyone.
Yes.
And we have I noticed here we have someone from Pakistan. I appreciate it. I've traveled Islamabad, Karachi, Lahore. I've been through Pakistan. I have a lot of followers in Pakistan. And, it's tough for them to be able to afford a US dollar, let alone $7. But the thing is this, they realize the value and they have bought into this, many of them. We've got people from all over the world on this system now. And I intend to keep it in a way that makes it accessible and affordable to everybody. And if we all start following and changing our attitudes and behaviors, we could make this profession and sales something of high respect because the world revolves around us. Nothing happens without a transaction. It all starts there. And this is simple human interaction. There's nothing that's unethical about it. It's all pure, honest, straightforward, no gimmicks. It's there for you to take advantage of, and that's the best I can do. I'd love to give it to you free, but I'm under the belief that something for nothing is worth nothing.
Yeah, you certainly get what you pay for. Folks, what's cheap isn't good and what's good isn't cheap. $7 for a 7-day trial is not cheap. That means if you actually paid for this for each day, that's $365 a year. Well, you're getting it for a little bit less down the road should you decide to take advantage of not only what you can learn from this, but think about how much worth you're going to get out of it. Are you worth $1 a day to take advantage of training that's going to either remind you of something you forgot or give you a new technique or idea that you can go out and put into use today for a
And
dollar?
just the stuff and attitude alone will increase your self-worth, and that self-worth will increase your net worth.
Now, another thing too, we mentioned a little bit earlier that if you're a sales trainer or a sales manager, if you've got a group of people, you've got basically 200 modules that you could either stuff it down their face for 7 days, or you could go ahead and take advantage of the program after the trial is over. You could take advantage of it and just think there's 200 sales meetings right there.
Yeah.
And with 2 days off, there's a year's worth of sales meetings. And when that's over, you repeat them. And should you be unfortunate enough to have people who you have to replace, well, you got new ones again. And you know what? Sales are sales.
You got her. So we'll leave that up.
Yeah.
I'll just put the phone number up one more time in case anybody's having
Okay.
difficulties, but 404-445-0781. And Rich, again, thank you very much for hosting us this evening. I hope I met your expectations, and more importantly, those of the participants, all the people. Thank you very much for investing your time. I hope you got good roadie out of tonight, a good return on your time invested, and that you'll take the steps to make this a better world by improving yourself and improving the way you treat others and how you interact with others. And Rich, I hope that one day I can do this again with you, and I thank you very much.